Alright guys, it is Blue Friday. Water boxes one day a year, they put all their tanks 10% off. Today I am going to go over setting up an all-in-one 50.3 water box just to show you how fast and simple you could have a saltwater centerpiece in your own home. With a 50.3, weight isn't really going to be an issue. You can put it pretty much anywhere in your home you would like to. Just make sure there's an outlet nearby. When you first set it up, you want it to be at least 4 inches away from the wall because you're always going to need to access the back. A lot of times people put these right up against the wall. They go to get their lights on, they can't even get the light bracket to fit. So 4 inches is a good spacing to have. This one, the stand is already put together. If you buy a tank from us here at OSA, we already pre-assemble all the stands for you. You are gonna have a little tweaking to do to the stand once you get home. So you get the stand where you want it, get the tank placed on it. I recommend you have someone help you because you could possibly do this one yourself, but 2 people make it much, much easier to do. So we have the tank on the stand, everything is lined up, it's right where we want it. Now you step back and you look at your new tank. You notice the doors are crooked. When you move these stands and when you first put these stands together, the doors are not going to be straight. Don't jump the gun and fix the doors right now. You have to level the tank first, because if you fix the doors now and then level the tank, you're gonna have to fix the doors again, just trying to save you a little time. Levels are very important when you're setting up rimless tanks. They don't have rims on them, so it's the glass and silicone holding it together, and if one side has more pressure on it than the other, especially with salt water, because we've got water moving back and forth with the wave makers, it could cause a failure. It usually doesn't, but it could, and leveling it is very simple. Waterbox puts multiple feet underneath these stands. They're the little screw type feet, just like a refrigerator or a washer or dryer. It's very simple to do. Put your level across lengthwise, about 1/4 of an inch off on this side. So instead of trying to do both at once, do the front to back first, because that's the easiest one to take care of. And then we'll worry about the lengthwise. This is where 2 people come in very handy. Easiest way, I forgot my pry bar. I'm gonna use a wrench. You're using leverage, so it comes up very easily. Slide it under and gently lift up. Good. We are good. Doing the front to back actually leveled out lengthwise, so we got lucky on this one, and now it's time to fix the doors. Unless the doors fix themselves, because sometimes that happens. They did not. Amy's going to show you guys real quick how to maneuver these doors. It's quite simple.
For the doors, you have to take these little clips off so that way you can access the screws that you need to get to make sure the doors are level. This screw here, the first one, pulls the door in or out sideways this way. The second screw in the back pulls it from the stand out or back in. So say it's rubbing and it's pulled up against here really tight and that's what's causing it to not close, then you'll do this one. If it's because the doors are touching this way, then it's this screw. Right now it's because it's this way, so we gotta do this one. So let's see how far off we are.
That's perfect.
And just tweaking a screw here or there, you're able to get it good across the top, same gap, and then making sure that it's level all the way down as well in the middle so none of the doors are not touching.
Well, thank you very much. Now while everything's dry, I'm gonna take care of all the work I have to do in the back. You could do that once you fill the tank, but I prefer doing it now because I don't want to get all wet in the process. On either side, you're gonna have filter sock holders. They're in bags. Take them out of the bags. They have this cardboard sticky tape on them. Both sides, take the tape off. That goes right there. With the smaller tanks, you get one of these boxes. 50.3, you get 2 of these boxes. It has bubble trap sponges. There's a compartment on each side. You take the bubble trap sponge. I already have them in there, but they go right here like this, and you put them down to the bottom, and it stops bubbles from the filter sock getting into your return pump chamber. What also comes in this box are your bio balls. This is where all your biological filtration is going to take place. You just unzip the bag, dump them in that side, dump them in that side. You also get 2 bags of carbon, 1 in each box. A lot of people put this in right away. You don't want to put this in until your cycle is done. It's usually about the 1 month mark that you put this in. So just put it back in the box, put it under the stand, and a month from now when the tank is cycled out, you're ready to go. When you first set the tank up, you can run the filter socks right off the bat if you want. I usually don't, because there's a bunch of silt and sediment in the sand and stuff, and instead of it settling out, if you're running the socks, your socks are getting clogged up like every hour or 2, and you've got to rinse them out. So the socks I also put under the stand. Those I'll put in a day or 2 after the tank is up and running. Now we're gonna get to the return pump. A lot of folks will see this and they'll struggle getting the return pump in because there's not much room in here. All you have to do is unscrew these 2 right here. This entire assembly comes out. We're gonna go over and look at some of the products we're gonna be using on this build. Normally on a 50.3, if you buy the setup from us, the full setup, it comes with a Seashea Silent, Synchro. It's usually the 1 or the 1.5. Saltwater, we usually go with the 1.5 because you usually want more flow in the tank. With this build, we just got in the Seashea Synchro SDC DC pumps, the 3.0s. They came out about 2 weeks ago. Haven't had the opportunity to use one yet, so I'm gonna use one on this build. These are completely silent pumps. I use these at home, the bigger models, and I can't hear my tanks running. You have the return pump. They give you this because just in case a fish should jump and get into the return pump chamber, you don't want them getting sucked into your return pump. This will stop that from happening. It comes with 2 different hose barb connections depending on what size your return line is, and 4 rubberized feet to stop any vibration from the pump sitting on the bottom of the tank. And your pump is almost assembled. A lot of people wonder what these O-rings that come with it are for, and they forget to even use them. You'll notice in the top of the return, there's a little slot right there. The O-ring fits right in there. This pushes right on. Sometimes if it's really tight, soak the hose in some warm water and that will help it get on better. You can put a zip tie or something on here if you want, but the barbs will normally hold that in place. The pump is going to be going sideways in the return chamber, so when you put this on, it simply screws on like this. And it's ready to go in the back of the tank. When you screw these back on, you gotta make sure they're only hand tight. There are rubber O-rings on here, and that will prevent any water spillage from the back compartment into the front. I have heard about, and I've actually seen a few people, since it looks like these are nuts, take a wrench and turn them. Pressure on the glass will crack this back glass, so just go hand tight with them. And you're gonna wanna put your nozzles on. Once again, very simple, threaded. There's an O-ring on there, just hand tight. You can adjust these nozzles once the tank is up and running to displace the water wherever you'd like it to go. It's really cool because you got 4 outlets here, and it covers this 3-foot space very, very well. Leave your wire hanging to the side so you can hook your controller up when you're ready to. Normally on these all-in-ones, we use the different sized Aquarium Pros. Very reliable heater, very simple to use. It comes with 2 suction cups. The heater is preset to 78 degrees, which is where you're gonna want it, so you don't need to mess around with that dial at all. You have your 2 media compartments. You can put the heater in either one of them. I'm going to go on this side, just because this is the side area of wires coming on. Put it down so you know the heater is going to be submerged. Sometimes if the heater is too long, it hits that filter sponge that's down at the bottom. You can turn that sponge, instead of having it go horizontally, you can have it go vertically. You just want the sponge to be blocking where the water's coming in from the filter sock. This heater is small enough so I can have it laying horizontally. Either way works just fine. Just know it doesn't have to be one way or the other. Now we get to do the fun and start aquascaping. You're gonna wanna put the rocks in first. I cheated a little bit and I aquascaped the 50.3 yesterday, so I'm just gonna go get the stuff that's in that one and bring it over here, and we'll go from there. Got the Rockscape done. We used the Cornerstone Reef rock that we just recently got in. It's all different shapes. The color is very realistic on it. You may wonder why I put the rock in before the sand. A lot of these saltwater creatures like to burrow, and if you put your rocks on top of the sand and they burrow under the sand, you get a rock slide in a glass box. Not the best result. It's easier to do your rock work first. At this point, if you are sure you really like this aquascape the way it is, you can quickcrete it together. A lot of people do. I prefer not to, because I know darn well once this thing's full of water, I'm gonna be like, I should have put that rock over there. I like moving stuff around. If you are just a put it together and you're done, this would be a good time to glue it all together. The cool thing about the Cornerstone stuff is it's got so many different shapes, it locks together like puzzle pieces, so you almost don't even need to do anything to it because it's locked together. We'll go get some sand and start putting that in. For sand, we're gonna use the Carib Sea Fiji Pink. I just find it to be the best grade of sand. It's not too big so algae doesn't grow on it, and it's not that small so it doesn't blow all around the tank, because remember with saltwater, we're gonna be using power heads, lots of flow in the tank. There are a few ways people will do this. Some people will just open the bag up and dump it in. I prefer to open the bag, squeeze it off good. Yes, you're gonna lose a little bit of sand and some bacteria by doing this, but your tank will be so much clearer when you fill it up. To me, it's worth doing it. You just drain all this sludgy water out of here. Because you're going to be using Fritz Turbo Start to get her going anyway, so you're going to be replacing any of that bacteria you might lose. And while you're putting the sand in, you can spread it around and pack it into all the crevices that are left over from your rock work. It kind of acts like a mortar to help hold everything together. It's recommended 1 pound of sand per gallon of water, where this is a 50-gallon tank, but about 10 gallons of it is technically in the filtration. We're just gonna use 2 20-pound bags. That should be more than enough. Okay guys, the aquascaping is pretty much done on this. Amy is filling up some brute barrels with some salt water from the back. We're gonna go on to what we're gonna use for lighting on this. Take a walk over here. Our go-to light on these builds are the AIs. They are not top of the line. They are by no means bottom of the line. They're right in the middle of the road where you want a light to be. They will grow anything. They are very easy to program, and they just work great, and they look nice on the aquarium. They have flexible arms. There's a 12-inch, which is great for the 10 gallons, the 20 gallons, stuff like that. The 50.3 is a little bit of a wider tank, so we're going to use the 18-inch model. This is the mount that goes onto the tank. Completely adjustable no matter how wide or narrow your tank is. One thing to be careful of is when you open this bag up, is a really, really, really small Allen head bolt. You don't want to lose this. So put it back in the bag until you're ready to use it. That thing can disappear fast on you. The lights are all factory sealed. If you have one of these lights, once you break this seal, you own this. So remember that. Make sure this is what you want before you crack that seal open. It's got a thread on one side, the light's threaded right there. Get that done. It's easiest if you just lay this down flat on a flat surface. You're gonna find in this build, you're playing with a lot of twist ties. Everything has at least 3 or 4 twist ties on it. They have these nice little clips to hold the wire so the wire isn't an unsightly mess hanging all over the place. Very simple to use. You just push it onto the arm and push the wire into it and you're done. You're gonna want the screw part on the back of the tank. And this is where that little Allen nut that I told you not to lose comes in. They give you an Allen wrench as well. There's a little hole in the base of this mount that this threads into and it holds the arm in place. Get that nice and snug and you're ready to put your new light over your new tank. I'm gonna go put the other light together. Amy is gonna start filling this tank up and we'll be up and running very soon. We're dealing with electricity and we're dealing with water. Every tank is run off a power strip. A lot of people will just throw it down here. If this tank ever leaks or you spill any water, the first place that water is going is down here. All you need is a couple of screws and mount the power strip up high so it's completely out of the way. All your plugs are out of the way. Since the wires will be coming from the tank down and then back up, you automatically get a natural drip loop on your wires right away. So mount it up high so it doesn't get wet. Okay guys, in a little less than, actually a little over an hour, we have a complete saltwater tank set up and running. That's how easy these water box tanks are. And this is just a gorgeous looking tank. Now you get to go to your phone. And if you use the Seashea STC, you gotta download the Seashea Control app, and then you get full control over that return pump on your phone. It's also basically a mini controller. It will tell you if something malfunctions with the pump, tells you tank temperature, etc. You also have to download the AI app so you can control your lights. Once we get that app downloaded, we'll get these lights on, we'll show you what this tank looks like lit up. Normally you would have to wait for the tank to get up to temperature before you put your cycling bacteria in it. I have heated salt water in the back, that's what we use to fill this, so I don't need to wait. One thing with your heater, once you get to this point, you just plug your return pump in, you're good, you're running. Let your heater sit for about a half an hour before you plug it in. That allows it to compensate for its new surroundings and everything else. So wait about a half hour for that. Once the tank gets up to 77, 78 degrees, that's when you put your beneficial bacteria in. We're gonna start this with the Fritz Fish with Fuel. It's an ammonia source. It's 1 teaspoon per 25 gallons. It's a 50.3, so it's 2 teaspoons. Already measured that out. Put that in first. Then you take the Fritz Magic Juice, the Turbo Start 900, shake them up really good. Each bottle does 25 gallons, 50 gallons, hence 2 bottles. Even though we probably don't have 50 gallons of water in here, you can't really overdose this stuff, so. This stuff smells really bad, and the water's already cloudy because we just filled it. If you had waited for it to get up to temperature, your water might be crystal clear already. It's gonna cloud your water up for 20 minutes to a couple of hours. Totally normal. Dump that in. Bottle number 2. This stuff really does smell. And there you go, guys. That's how you set up a water box all in one. We'll have a couple shots of it once the lights are on in about 5-10 minutes. Okay, so we are all lit up. Technically, you do not need your lights to cycle the tank. So set them for about 8 hours in the beginning because you are going to want to have them on so you can look at the tank. This should be cleared up in a few hours. Water will be nice and crystal clear. If you would like to purchase one of these awesome aquariums, go see Allie down in our new Wakefield store, Joe up at Seekonk, or come on into Coventry and see myself this weekend. All the all-in-one tanks and the sumped reef tanks, which are great fresh or salt water, are 10% off. That's 10% off the entire setup this time around. So it's a big savings, very large sale we're having. Any of the Waterbox Clear series are 15% off, and any of our other not drilled tanks that you need to use a canister filter or a hang on the back filter are also 15% off. Have a great weekend. Hope to see you all soon.